Welcome to this section of our What's New in 2024 for SOLIDWORKS. My name is Ed Hawkins, and over the next few minutes I will take you through the updates in parts and features. We'll start with an enhancement that's been requested a lot over the years and hopefully gets people excited, which is Save As a Previous Release. Let's open up this component and take a look. Nothing new here on the Save dropdown, just the software telling us the file is being referenced by other documents. That's okay, we'll use Save As Copy and Continue. Navigating to the Save As type and you'll see all the familiar Save As types, but we have two new ones here, SOLIDWORKS 2022 and SOLIDWORKS 2023. This allows us to save the document back to a previous release of SOLIDWORKS up to 2 years back. Just as simple as hitting save. As long as there's no 2024 enhancements or features in this particular part, you'll be able to save it back to that and open it in 2022. SOLIDWORKS will perform a check, and if any of the 2024 features do exist, you can address them or delete them ahead of saving. Next up in SOLIDWORKS 2024 is a new option in the revolved cut command. We now have the ability to flip side to cut, just like we do in the extrude cut command. Normally this cut would core out the interior of this component, but with the flip side to cut, it cuts the exterior, giving you a lot more flexibility with your designs. On a part like this, we might need to know the sort of bar stock required for manufacturing. So to do that, I'll go to Reference Geometry and choose Bounding Box. Now in the past we've had rectangular bounding boxes, but we now have the option to use cylindrical. Currently this best fit option is based off of the rectangular option, and so it doesn't give us the best fit that we're expecting for this particular component. But that's not a problem, because we can choose a custom plane and specify the direction that we like for this particular bounding box. Right click and we'll confirm that, and you can see this bounding box here. A great way to add useful manufacturing information to your model. Let's continue on with some patterning and surfacing enhancements. We'll select this component and open it. We have an idea for lightening this component using these triangular cutouts, but of course we need to first pattern them. I'll start by selecting the front plane to give them my pattern direction and then choose linear pattern. At this point we want to select the interior face of that cut and then go to the right view so we can see what it looks like. Let's use a dimension of 22.5 and 3 instances. New in 2024 is the option for symmetric linear pattern, so we no longer have to use this pattern seed and specify the exact same options in both fields. We can simply use symmetric patterning, and as you can see the pattern is now symmetric. A bit of a time saver if you are using patterns often. Next, let's have a look at an improvement in surfacing. We have a new option in the Untrim Surface tool, but first we need to do a copy surface, so I'll use the Offset Surface command. Using the down arrow, I will set that to 0 and select this face and click to confirm. Now I have a copy of that surface. This part is probably going to be injection molded, and we might want to be able to capture these shut-off surfaces for these triangles that go through the whole part. Previously this was relatively difficult, but now in SOLIDWORKS 2024, simply just using the Untrimmed Surface option and specifying Exclude Parent Surface, it will now give me those interior faces. I can hover over the component, use Tab to hide the solid body and the surface body, and we can see that I only have the shut-off surfaces that I require. Let's take a look at some enhancements to sketching as well as the hole wizard. Selecting this component and opening it, let's modify this sketch and add some detail to it. What I want to show here is just a quick sketch addition. Just adding this rectangle, and then I'll simply select one of the lines. As I select it, you'll notice that there is a grey dimension popped up, which I can select and type in a dimension. Very quick and easy. It doesn't only work for individual entities, you can also select multiples. Let's select the center line, then Control select this line here, And now I have an angle dimension between these two, but it doesn't interfere with any of the previous existing sketch options, such as the pop-up in context toolbar where I can add an equals relation. A great new option there for dimension preview. Now let's take a look at an update in Hole Wizard. New in 2024 is the ability to use an existing 2D sketch for the placement of holes. Once we've selected the hole type, selecting this option allows me to select the sketch, and you'll notice that it doesn't only allow sketch points, but allows the endpoints of lines as well. I can choose to create instances on construction geometry or uncheck the new option completely. Let's leave it on for now, but in this case I only needed 3 bolt holes for this pattern. So let's choose another new option, instances to skip. Just deselect that particular instance and then confirm. Finally, let's talk about another enhancement to SOLIDWORKS 2024, which is the ability to make a multi-body part out of an assembly. In this example, we need to be able to create a fixture or jig for welding this assembly together. But because this assembly is weight sensitive, we also want to have a really precise understanding of the final weight and whether there are going to be any interferences between any of the welds and the jig or fixture. Historically, we could do some of this inside the assembly, but we can't do an actual physical body weld with a fillet bead at assembly level, although we could do some assembly features like cuts. So we wouldn't be able to get the actual true weight of the completed welded assembly. It's also not as easy to create jigs in this mode either. Optionally, we could save this assembly as a part, but that breaks the connection to the assembly and also just creates imported geometry. So in 2024, we have an option to make a multi-body part. With this new option, we can carry over information like surface and solid bodies, as well as axes, planes and coordinate systems for the assembly and the part material. You can choose to break the link to the original assembly if you like, or maintain it. Now that we've saved the multi-body part, we can start creating our jig or fixture, but before we do that, let's look at the feature tree. On our Make Multibody part, you can see that we have surface bodies and solid bodies brought across, and each of them has their own material shown here in the tree. Let's show the surface bodies and hide the solid bodies. We'll just trim these surfaces using a mutual trim and then thicken the surface. Let's go with 3mm thickness. I'll just show all the bodies and show the fixture, just to highlight that this is in fact associative. I can move the assembly around here and update the new part to see that not only does the part update, but also the fixture around it. Another ability we have in the part environment is that we can create material rather than just removing it. So if I wanted to do a fillet bead, we can do that. Just select one face, right mouse button to move the face set selection over to the second one, and then select the second face set and right click to confirm. Enter will repeat the last command and just repeat the steps. Because those are actual solid bodies, we can see them in the cut list folder. We can even apply material to them, again making sure that we have a very accurate weight for our assembly. Something else that we might want to do is try an interference detection, which we are able to do in part environment as well. We know that we're going to have an interference between the fixture and the weld bead that we just applied, but that doesn't matter too much as we can quickly solve the issue. Just hide these bodies and then we can add a chamfer to this edge. 2.5mm 33° chamfer should be enough clearance. Let's show our components again and we'll run that interference detection one more time. No interferences. A great new option for SOLIDWORKS 2024. Firstly, we saw the new Save As Previous Release functionality. Then we had a look at how we can flip the side to cut within the revolve command, and we followed that up with the new cylindrical bounding box option. Next we saw how we can use the sketch dimension previews and how the Hole Wizard will now use existing sketch entities for positioning, along with a new ability to skip instances. We then looked at symmetrical linear patterns, some updates to surfacing, and finished off with how we can make a multi-body part from an assembly. Thanks very much for watching, and look out for our next video on what's new with sheet metal and structure systems in SOLIDWORKS 2024.